his computer. And we are recording. So I'll go ahead.
I'm going to pick you apart.
Yeah. You're frozen, Misty. It was kind of creepy when you said that because your face was frozen. Anyway.
Oh, no. Am I good now?
Right. Yeah, you're good now.
You know my faces.
Okay. I will introduce the show. Let's see. Let me get my mind together. Hello, this is Lisa Hazard and Misty Lure with We Are All Psychic. And guess what? We have another fabulous, wonderful new guest, and her name is Maria. Maria, I would like to ask you a question. Do you think we are all psychic?
Well, I have a little bit of a tricky time with that word because I feel like it means different things to different people. But what I do feel is that we all have access to information on many different levels, and that some people have more practice listening and having that kind of deep trust and understanding of themselves to know when the information is coming from the field rather than from their own mental paranoia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do feel that there's layers of it, right? So some people have a natural ability that they're born with, that they're able to either hear things or see things, like see auras, see the future, have a gut feeling, like it all comes from the body, right? So I feel like the more connected people get to their own bodies and to their own knowing, then the more information they have access to. But not everybody is interested in that,
It's the interest.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And also practice. Absolutely. Not everybody wants to practice. And I think that, it really requires like a devotion, like to come back over and over again. And then, for me, there's also the testing it out piece, like I get this information. How does it really live in the world? Like how does it work when I feel this person is doing this? Then is that actually happening? And for me, that really took a lot of, testing it out. Like, okay, right now I have a feeling that my partner is mad at me. Like, is that true when they're telling me that they're not? And so then there's the testing of information of saying, hey, I have this feeling, what's actually going on? And then really massaging that, so I feel like for me, it's been a process of having an ability, like for me, my ability when I was younger was very much connected to my solar plexus. Like I had feelings like my body was being jerked around by things, and then tuning into that, like what is it? And then from there, I became interested in my first real love was astrology. Like I started reading about it when I was 18 and like just love it, love it, love it. I felt like I already knew everything that I was reading. And so that sort of started playing with, the images and the symbols and the stories and bringing those to bear on people's lives. And then also having this gut feeling thing, like I had feelings about stuff that I could now put stories to.
Yeah.
And that was really the beginning for me. And then at some point, tarot cards came in, were just like such a natural, like, look at the picture. What does it feel like? Oh yeah, this is what's happening, and in some ways to help people connect with the reality of the mental, and I'm going to use the word psychic, but, and by that, I mean if only 1% is the material world and the other 99% is like, who the fuck knows what it is, excuse me, then how do we tune into that? And I think using images and using feelings and really that kind of right brain way of knowing is really enlightening and beneficial. And
it is beneficial, and some people suffer with it, like you were saying, the people who like have been working with it all their lives, whether they want to or not, because I have a feeling a lot of people who end up in this field of work, they have to face that down and be like, I kind of just have to. I want to in the end. In the end, you're like, it is a gut feeling. It's like I can't stop doing it. I can't stop thinking about it. It's like
it like makes you ill. Seriously. Yeah.
It can.
Well,
did you ever have experiences like that as you were learning and testing your boundaries?
No, what I felt a lot was that I remember, this is before tarot cards, but I have this feeling now with the cards where, when you're like playing with your cards and you really want a certain outcome, but the cards are like, no.
Yeah.
Like, oh, come on, let me pull another card, but I used to feel it with my body, and I used to sometimes feel nauseous. Like I wanted something and it wasn't going to happen, and I would just be nauseous with it, and so that led me to be like, okay, like acceptance, like that's not the place to go. There must be another place, rather than so I feel like the other part of the journey, and I'm curious how you guys have dealt with this, is that I feel like I was much more interested in the predictive. Like I wanted to know, I mean, some of this interest is like the unknown, right? But now I just feel like whatever it is, it's like, wow, that's so cool. I wonder where we're going to go next. So I'm not interested in prediction at this point.
Yeah, I don't find it either.
I like to know the reasons why things happen and predict both psychically and with logic, what's most likely going to happen next if I'm doing a reading and for myself. But I know what you mean when I'm like, look, there's this outcome. Well, is there anything I can do to change it? Well, are you sure? Well, let's check tomorrow. Well, is there anything to change it? But I was more interested in divination from the beginning. I started with palmistry, and to me, like, it just made sense. That's what you were saying with astrology. Like, more recently, I'm learning about astrology, and I've always been coming back and forth and back and forth. But this time, it's starting to like get in there because I've learned so many other terms of divination, and they all link together. Like, I've got the numerology, I got the palmistry, I got the cards, I got, and there's astrology and all that, and I'm starting to like really work on that. And I really like to know the whys. The divination was the interest at first with doing this kind of stuff. I was, if you could predict the future, wow, I just thought that was, and I wanted to know, like you said, I wanted to know. But at the end, I really wanted to know the whys of what's happening. That's where I'm
I started out with astrology too. That was my first
she made charts.
Opening up.
Yeah, she actually, when she was younger, she would make charts.
I mean, I love to do it. That was my first thing, and this was 20 years ago. But I loved astrology. I always, thought, well, is this really going to come true, or is this going to happen, or this going to happen? So I get it when she said astrology was calling her at first, because that's, I think, the most basic one. Astrology, you see it in magazines, you see newspapers.
Yeah, people accept it. People accept it.
Yes, and that's something that you can come to terms with, I think, at first.
Yeah, it's true. It's always there. It's always there in our culture. That the horoscope has always been there. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, although, I have to say, I have had times in my life where I feel like I'm probably like older than both of you, where I was like a little bit ashamed, like, like here I am, this like, kind of like logical person, but I'm an astrologer, and what I feel is that, like, for me, the proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? Like, it works. Like, I've done readings for some very skeptical people, like when, wives send me their husbands, okay? Like, it's your birthday present, and I'm like, hi, so we're going to look at your chart, and then they're like, whoa, like, that describes me to a T, and then I dig a little bit more, and it's like, and how about this part? And it's like, oh my God, how does she know? I just, So, I feel like there's, and so symbolically, right? Like playing with the symbols, like people have these inner lives. And I feel like some of the work that we do as, whatever you want to, guides for the invisible world is to help people like really access their inner world.
Yeah, I feel that. That's a really good way of putting it, because that's at the heart of it. What we do is helping people understand.
Yes, and it's fun.
And giving them the empowerment to understand they can make their own choices.
Right.
Based on information they already have that they're just coming to us to find clarity on.
Absolutely. So let me tell you the other thing I love about astrology is that I think that it helps us celebrate our diversity. I have like these 12 ways of looking at things, and each one has its gifts and it's like potential pitfalls, and they're all equally like, wow. And so for me, when I first started studying astrology, I was like, oh my God, like there isn't one way to be. There's like all these different choices. And I feel like that's a beautiful gift.
It is.
It is.
And sometimes, divination, say you're just doing readings on the internet, trying to find your chart and see what they say. Now, I had a friend who did this when she was learning tarot cards, as an example, with a tarot app. And people might do this with, say, charts online and stuff, those pre-generated charts that tell you all about you based on this and this and this. Well, they tell you the good and the bad. So, like, for example, with my friend with the tarot card app, she's like, oh, this looks good, blah, 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 blah. But then it says blah, 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 blah. And she's going to scare the crap out of herself. But, if you go approach it from a tool of learning about yourself or other people, instead of like, what, just what the newspaper says, it can scare the crap out of you sometimes,
Of course it can.
Yeah. If you're looking at it that way. So, like, the approach I think people take to exploring this stuff makes a big difference too. And astrology, a lot of people really do accept as like something that really works. I told my psychiatrist I did, tarot readings, and I worked as a reader. And he's like, ooh, and I was surprised. A psychiatrist. He's like, ooh. So my grandmother used to watch the stars, and my grandfather would do this, and my grandmother did the cards, and my grandfather watched the stars, and he was just like fascinated by it. And I was like, a doctor? Really? Wow, that's great. Awesome. Yeah, he's a great doctor. So, but I just like, it just depends on the mindset with people, and also where they're raised and what they were taught when they were younger. So that was his first thought, was an influence that was positive, So that was really encouraging on my side, because that's hard to tell a doctor, that you're a tarot reader.
I know.
Nowadays, it's not as big of a deal, but, in the South, it doesn't always go.
Yeah, well, you just never, ever know who's going to be.
Sometimes they're like, what? Can I get a reading?
Yeah.
Well, we all have different lineages, so my lineage, if I were to track it, is like my family's from Italy. My great grandmother was, I don't even know what you would call her, but she did el mal ojo. So, like the evil eye, but it's like really what it is. When you look deeply into curing the evil eye, it's all about changing a piece of the mind, because when people get the evil eye, they feel like somebody's envious and they're sending them bad energy. So part of it is like shifting the story and changing that story. Like, no, we're not going to let that bad energy come, and so that was her.
Okay, yeah.
So I feel like so much of this work too is around helping other people understand that, like, hey, the story that you're being given, like, you can change it.
Yes, you have freedom and options.
You do.
This is a source of information for you to use and work with that when you come to a reader, or if you're doing it yourself. This is not like a decision maker necessarily. It can help you. It can assist you. And, that's like all the divination arts, all the, healing arts and the psychic field, energy work, magic.
Building of awareness. How do you work with the palm?
Oh, well, I started when I was 15, and I've just been, I'll have to do a podcast on it sometime, but I just read. I keep that the lines change. And the palmistry is really a lot related to astrology and the names of the mounts. Like, this is the amount of, like, I'm showing, and the listeners can't see this, but I'm showing my palm in the video on Zoom we're on. And like, this is the amount of Venus on your thumb, and this is Jupiter, and this is Saturn, this in the finger. The first one is Jupiter, the second one's Saturn. The third, the pinky finger is I think it's Apollo. I'm getting like a little lost. And this one is the communication, so that might be a
Mercury.
Thank you. It was Mercury.
Yeah, so that's kind of astrological too. That's kind of
cool. They're all, and this is a plane of Mars. This is a upper plane, lower plane of Mars, and this is the mount of Luna. This is the moon. So I mean, it's all like related to astrology, and then the lines like crossing the mounts of it goes into what the astrology meanings are and how they cross them, and there's a lot more to it. It's a lot like astrology in that you can go down rabbit holes and study it all your life. And
that's the beauty of it.
I did study it really hardcore for about 20 years, and then I just haven't really kept up with it because I got into tarot really hardcore. So yeah, but I do have a question now, listeners. Maria, she is also on EverClear with me, and I'd like to say thank you to our sponsor EverClear right now, because they're awesome, and it's a place you can go and you can get advice from psychics and empaths. And you can find the guidance you might need to create the life you deserve. So, Maria, we are emailing back and forth, and you had some great ideas for helping people open up to the energies. And so, like, one example, we'll go ahead and tell the listeners. Like,
well, yeah. So here's what I find that our nervous systems, okay, like that's how we gather information. Like that's our antenna, and the more peaceful and calm my nervous system is, the more the information that comes in is very clear.
Yeah. Yes, I agree 100%.
So what I find with a lot of people who call in is that they usually call in when they're in a very desperate place. You know, a lot of times they're in despair and their nervous systems are pretty dysregulated.
Yeah.
So two things. One of the things that I do is just like try to keep myself very calm. So at least what I'm putting out to them is like, here, there's another way. Okay. Soothing. But I also like to give people practices that they can do to either discharge energy or
process,
right? Or to like just like calm down. Like if you see the same situation from a more grounded place, it might look totally different. You know, some of them are simple, like, you know, feel your feet on the ground. Notice what's underneath you where you're sitting, you know, just to do that, like, hey, oh yeah, I'm on the ground, that's grounded. Or there's a whole bunch of polyvagal theory kind of practices that are coming in right now. So like there's one where if you inhale for 4 and then you exhale for 8, you're like you're starting to slow down the nervous system. Shaking medicine, like having people shake for like a minute. I don't do this with them online, right? I encourage them to do it like later. So there's like laying down on the floor. In my Italian tradition, what the women used to do when they needed to ground was they go out and roll on the ground. Like,
nice.
You know,
yeah.
That's cool. Mama energy into you. And so there's those, and, you know, I have like a whole list of them that I can give people depending on what they're going through. And then the other thing that I've been doing myself, and I haven't really brought this into EverClear yet, although I've encouraged a couple of people to do it. I do a class every week, and I'm doing it on Zoom now, called Dance Spells. And in that class, what we do is do a kind of quick meditation, and then we imagine we tune into what's moving through us. And so I call it creating reality from the inside out. And so we do 5 dances, each one like 3 or 4 minutes long. I just put my iPod on shuffle, and the first 3 are for 3 things that you want to bring into your life, and they could be more peace, or they could be a new car, you know, I mean, I don't care, whatever it is, you know, it's like, what is it that I want to bring into my life? And then we have one for an other. So we do a dance for somebody else, and that kind of brings in the mirror neurons, you know, and then the last one is for the greater whole, you know, for the world, for something bigger. And that really came from my class. Like they were like, we love doing stuff for ourselves, but we feel like we really need to do something for the world.
Oh, that's so cool. I want to do that. Yeah, I want to do
here's
that.
The thing. I mean, women or people have been doing that for centuries. You know what I'm thinking of? Like Indian dances. The Indians would get in circles and dance, you know, and that's how they were getting their positive energies from.
The shaman would beat the drum. The shaman beats the drum. They go in the trance and they dance.
You're moving. Yeah.
Ooh, they light the fires.
You know, movement is important, but, you know, let me tell you this from like the neuroscience place, okay? Because it really fits in. It's like the brain doesn't know whether something's actually happening or we're imagining it. And when we open up to it, when we imagine it, it actually gets the frontal brain kind of going and making, you know, creating ideas. Well, how are we going to make that happen? You know, so like if I'm doing a dance where I'm imagining myself having like amazing adventures, okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm sort of priming the pump for my reality to shift in that direction. You know, so in essence, I mean, I almost feel like when we're doing dance spells, we're almost creating like our own energetic tarot cards.
You're manifesting it is what you're doing, yeah.
And putting your body into it, you know, putting your body into it, really. And I love dancing. I love dancing.
Yeah. So look, so at the end of each song, we like just send it off into the universe. And it's like,
oh, that feels good. Yes.
bring it to me in this way or a better way, because I don't have all the answers, right? And yeah, and then after the end, it's like, forget it, like we let it go. And I feel like so many things in my life have shifted as a result of my really giving myself to this process, and so as we go forward, I feel like I love all the stuff that I'm doing. However, Dance Spells just feels like, all right, like we just need this right now.
That's perfect. I really do want to join that. And where can people find you? They can find you on EverClear. What's your
I have my website is mariaskinner.com.
Okay, and I'll put that in the description.
Yeah, so that's where you could find the classes, and you can join on Zoom at this point. I have this like idea that at some point I'd love to do something like this, like in an outdoor setting with like hundreds of people, but I don't know.
Fun.
Could you imagine the energy that would bring?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
I know. Well, the cool thing about it is that everybody's working on their own thing. So it's not like, a traditional church, religious, sort of shamanic. It's like, I feel like what a lot of religions did is they harness people's energy toward whatever end they wanted.
I totally agree.
Yeah. As opposed to like in this practice, it's shamanic, it's individual, and it's like each person is just like, hey, like I'm moving my own energy toward whatever end I want. And
you can feel it. You can feel it if you're actively physically. I've never thought about that, putting the physical actions into what I want. Like I do it for I do a lot of yoga stretches and stuff. I have a lot of health issues and back issues and stuff, and I do a lot of stretches and stuff. Never thought about like putting something into. I dance around the house all the time. I'm always got.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, well, you can do it. I mean, sometimes on EverClear, I'll say to someone, hey, you seem to be in this kind of state of mind. Go put on your favorite song and imagine what you want the outcome to be, like dance into it. And then that's just like sometimes just a reset for their nervous systems,
This is great. I love it. Yeah. So they can find you on your website and they can find you on EverClear. What is your name on EverClear? Is it Maria also? Or?
Maria-LS.
Okay. And I can put your personal EverClear number in the description too.
Okay, great. Yeah. I'll get that to you.
All right. And I have just really enjoyed talking to you, and I am totally going to go to your website.
Here. Oh, guys, I can't wait. It's super
fun. You have got such healing energy. I had a rough morning. As soon as I saw your face, I was like,
Yes, like very good energy.
And
thank you so much for doing the podcast.
I'm not going to get any questions from Misty.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
Questions from Misty.
I know. I love it.
Hi, Misty.
Well, I love the fact that you are interpreting, the individual and how they feel, especially when you talked about like religions. They do make have their own free will to, feel what they want to feel, and that's a problem with a lot of us today. We need to find our inner selves. And I think that's a great idea to do it through movement and dance and feel it. And then like manifest it, I just love that.
Zoom is not participating.
There it goes. It just came back. It just came back. So you're back, Misty.
Okay, I don't know what you heard, but
we heard it
anyway,
all. We heard it all. It was just kind of like pixel. It was like wow. It's a little.
Okay, all right. It's always something. I know.
I know, right? Always psychic podcast.
So, okay, I know that you said that when you started out, like feeling. How do you still? So at this point, we had a nice. Long interruption with lots of crazy and some noise, and we'll let you get back.
So Misty, 5 minutes, questions.
Okay. All right. So basically what I'm wanting to know is how you went through your journey. I mean, I know that you said that, astrology is what started it, but like, where are you now and how did you get there? Because that's what a lot of people want to know.
Yeah, well, astrology, years and years and years. I mean, I'm 55. I started studying astrology when I was 18, right out of high school. And like I said, I just loved it, loved it, loved it. Devoured books, but I felt like I pretty much knew. I did everybody's chart that I could find. Um, I did charts of people that I knew when I was younger, just to really get like, well, the books say this, but this is what I see when I see the person. And so I feel like the books are the books. People wrote them, but I needed to get my own feeling. And so this is the piece that's really cool about the embodied astrology piece, is that I started playing with like, okay, so what does it feel in my body if I am a person with Venus and Taurus? So what do each of the elements feel like? And they do have a feeling in the body, like earth is very specific, air is very specific, fire is very specific, and water is very specific. So then it's like putting that together with the energy of fixed, mutable, cardinal. Okay. And so then after that, it's like, oh, and then Mars in Scorpio feels very different than Mars in Sagittarius.
Feeling it. Yeah. That's what I was trying to get at. That's how you started, was feeling it. And so, yeah, that's what I was trying to get out was,
feeling and sensing like in my body,
Yeah. Where did you get to where you believed it? Where you believed this was like, because you said you had like a logical mind.
Oh, I'm logical, but I'm also very practical. I mean, I'm Aquarius with a Capricorn moon. Okay, so I'm
I have a Capricorn moon too.
It works, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I have enjoyed this. I
have enjoyed this too. Thank you so much, Maria.
Right,
I'd love to have you back anytime if you want to.
Yeah. Yes. How do I find your podcast too?
I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link when I get it finished. I'll send you a link after the podcast. I'll get your information. I'll write you an email. All right. And then I'll let you know as soon as I'm going to mix it today. So we should have it live tonight. So
thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you, listeners, forever.
Thank you.
Forever, and have a great afternoon, day, evening, wherever you may be listening. Goodbye.